So Ryan was planned. We had talked about having a child. We started trying, and really pretty quickly we decided that maybe financially we weren't quite ready, so we decided not to try. But then I took a pregnancy test, and it was too late. We were already pregnant. And so we were shocked, a little scared, but super excited at the same time. My pregnancy was pretty easy. I didn't have any real morning sickness. It was pretty easy. I would say the most challenging part of delivery was that he was big. He was 3 weeks early, and he was big, and so we briefly thought I was going to have a C-section, but then they came back to check me one more time, and I was ready to push. So.
We found out the day Aunt Katie graduated from college, and I was going to wait till after the college graduation ceremony to tell Joey, because I didn't want to take away from the excitement of Katie's graduation day, but I couldn't wait any longer, and I told him like 5 minutes into the graduation service.
Needless to say, it totally eclipsed the graduation.
Yeah, we were very excited. Well, a week before Maddie was born, we found out that she was breech, and so we did not expect that. And also, during the whole time of the pregnancy with Maddie, I was in grad school, so that kind of made things a little more interesting. So I had morning sickness, had to leave out of class, go back to class.
She was so big she couldn't sit in the chair. So.
Got to the point where I couldn't fit in the desk anymore. So, yeah, that was fun. Because we found out that Maddie was breech, they scheduled a C-section. So we found out she was breech on a Friday. And then they scheduled a C-section for Monday morning. And so we knew that it was coming. But Joey didn't handle the excitement of it all very well. So
he's very nervous.
Yeah, he was very nervous. So before we went to bed the night before Maddie was born, we prayed together, and Joey prayed that I would be calm and peaceful and that everything would go smoothly. But then we realized we should have prayed more for Joey, because that morning he woke me up at about 4 a.m., still dark outside. He was mowing the grass. And then he came inside and broke his toothbrush while brushing his teeth before we get ready to go to the hospital. So he was pretty nervous.
I never held a baby before. I didn't.
Yes, he brought that up the morning before Maddie was born at like 6 a.m. Is the first I'd heard of that he had never held a baby before, and he was going to be the one to have to take her after she's born into the nursery and like introduce her to everyone.
It's a girl. So
yeah,
I was quite nervous.
I was 22 when Miriam was born.
I was 20, a month away from being 21 when Miriam was born.
Miriam was a happy surprise. She was not on our very well thought out schedule. No.
We were shocked when we heard that Ryan and Maddie were pregnant. Lori had an intuition that was what was going on when Ryan shared with us that Maddie had seen a doctor for stomach pain. And so she intuited that Maddie might be pregnant. And as it turns out, she was right. We knew it wasn't in their plan. We knew that they intended to have children, but expected to do so a few years down the road. And so we understood the disruptive potential that a baby would have at their station in life.
We were surprised, but very excited. Yeah, we were very excited.
She had already told Sadie, and I didn't know.
And I kept it a secret and didn't tell him. And so, yeah, we were excited.
Yeah, and I thought we were just having a regular FaceTime conversation. And so I was fixing something to eat and just
Yeah, he was
taking my
taking
time.
forever.
Had I known, I would have been there before it even opened up. But yeah, so we were very excited.
I felt sick mostly. The way that I found out that I was pregnant with Miriam is I could not keep anything down, including water. I was very, very sick for like 3 days, and finally my mom was like, maybe you should take a pregnancy test. And I said, no, that's not necessary because I've been taking my birth control religiously. But finally, I took a pregnancy test before my scheduled doctor's appointment because I was so sick.
I was pretty scared, I think, because when we found out that Maddie was pregnant, we hadn't planned it at all. We had just moved to a new town. We were renting a house for the first time ever. We'd never done anything like that before.
We'd only been living there for
like 2
less
days.
than a week.
Yeah, like we were there for 2 days. And so it was scary. It was definitely scary. And we didn't really know how things were going to play out, how we would be able to handle having a new person in our lives.
Yeah, both my mom and Ryan's mom had a very pleasant experience from what they've told us being pregnant, and I did not. I lost weight because I was not eating, and when I did eat, it didn't stay down for very long. So it was a pretty miserable 9 months, and it never really let up. Like, other people were like, oh, the morning sickness will go away, and for me, it did not. So it was really surprising because I was expecting to love being pregnant, but it wasn't all cute maternity clothes like everyone was saying. We did have a gender reveal. We went to a park with the mountains behind us, and we live streamed it, and we had breakfast, and it was just so awesome because all of us got a chance to just celebrate Miriam and the life that she was going to have. And I said I wasn't going to cry. And it was just really good because, I never want to look back on my pregnancy and remember just how sick I was or how scared we were or how, financially we were really struggling. It was good too. And we were all very excited, and we love her. So we went in to be induced. About an hour after I got there, I was already somewhat dilated, so thankfully we didn't have to go through that whole process, which is usually the hardest process of an induction. So I was already about 3 centimeters, so they could start on Pitocin right away. And I went for about, how long, 6 hours?
Yeah.
6 hours without any medication. So finally I caved. I got the
epidural.
Yes, that's what it's called, the epidural. But it was terrifying because of COVID. They would not it was very weird. They would not let Ryan in the room with me when I got my epidural. And I was already in a lot of pain, and I had a lot of anxiety about how huge the needle was, and everyone told me how scary it was. And it was scary, but it was not as bad as I thought it was going to be because the relief was just so worth it. It was exhausting. They had me pushing in every fathomable way. Every pose, every trick in the book. And finally I did it. And I was super proud of myself. It was the hardest thing I've ever done and the coolest thing I've ever done. COVID was really hard on my pregnancy because Ryan could not come into my doctor's appointments with me. They would not let him come into a single ultrasound. I ended up going to being admitted into labor and delivery twice because of an early labor scare, and they would not let him in there with me either of those times, which was really scary and lonely for us as young parents. But the coolest thing that ever happened, like throughout my entire pregnancy, the thing that meant the most to me was my parents surprised us with a 3D ultrasound in Colorado. And because it was a 3D ultrasound, they were able to let my grandparents, not her grandparents, my parents and Ryan's parents in with me, and Ryan got to be there for an ultrasound. It was the only ultrasound he got to see in person. And just after being so lonely in all of those ultrasounds and scared, and I don't know, it just meant a lot to me to have all of them there.
I guess probably my personal favorite thing is just the way she stares at you. Like her eyes bore into you. She's not flickering around looking at everything, and like she looks at you and really focuses in. And I don't know that I've ever seen a baby do that. So I wonder what she's thinking. Maybe not 100% in my case do I want to know what she's thinking, but anyway, she's got a lot of fun elements to her, to be sure.
I think one of my favorite things about Miriam's birth and her first few months is, I mean, she's amazing and wonderful and so much fun, and her smile just lights up the room. But I love watching Ryan and Maddie be parents. Every now and then it still feels surreal that those gawky little 13-year-olds, you know, that we watched being smitten with each other are parents. It's just surreal.
My favorite thing about Miriam is how happy she is. A lot of babies that we've met are like grumpy all the time and like don't smile a lot. But Miriam is just so happy, and as soon as she wakes up every morning, she'll give you like the biggest smile you've ever seen, and it's just really cute. And I don't know, just like everything she does, I'm like, oh my gosh, I love her so much. And we do, it's great.
I think my favorite thing about Miriam is just, I don't know. It's hard to say one thing when it's just like my favorite thing about her is that she exists, that she is her, and that we have like this relationship. I never thought, you know, Ryan can remember there were several times when I was a teenager and, you know, young adult that I really was convinced I was not going to be a good mom because I'm naturally a very selfish person. But as soon as she was born, it was just her. And she's beautiful. I really like that about her. She's so cute. And I like that she looks like me. I like that I can look at her and be like, wow, you're just a little part of me that I made and I'm sustaining, and you're just so fun. And I don't know, that wasn't really a specific thing, but I just, you know, love her in general. I can't think of one favorite thing.